The solution to that is getting a large gauge wire. The largest gauge that I have is, oh, I don't know what gauge this is. I think it's like 5. It's pretty big. And I'm gonna just make a circle, put it on here, one around the leader. And just come out here and move these down. And then I'll take this saw and stick it in here just for some added weight. So these things will be down and out of the way. That way, as you can see now that we've got that stuff down and out of the way, we're in no jeopardy of cutting that off when we do this cut. It's all the way out of the way. So let's go ahead and get started with our cut. Of course, like I said before, I'm going to be cutting a little bit above this line. I can always come back and carve down more if necessary. You can't put back on. And if you notice what I'm doing when I saw this, pull this out here, I'm going a little bit on the back, in the middle, in the front, in the middle, in the back, in the middle, in the front. I'm not just trying to go straight through it. What that does is that allows you greater control of your cut, and that also lets it be more precise on the cut. So let's keep on going. We're right on track for where we need to be. Again, putting pressure on this old trunk or old leader area, constantly putting, see if you can see that flex, I'm constantly pulling backwards, which opens up that gap. If you can see it down there at the saw blade, it opens up that saw blade gap so I don't get any binding. That also helps tremendously with the control of the cut. And there we go. Everything looks perfect. Now, we've not damaged any of the branches. You can clearly see the leader, you can clearly see the back branch, and you can clearly see the taper. We're not quite done with that yet. The next thing we're going to want to do I can go ahead and remove all this now. Here's the other side. You see it's just a diagonal cut. Nothing major. We've probably all done that before. Some people may have not. Just wanted to show everyone the way I do it. Alright, I want to look at this because of course I went a little higher than I needed to up here. Down at the bottom we're good. So what I need to do now is I need to come back in here at the top and work that area down just a little bit. I'm probably going to leave 1/4 of an inch above where this branch is, so I get that rolling over of the callusing. But right now I'm a little bit higher than that, so I have my knob cutter, or that's what I call it. That's what it's commonly referred to as, a knob cutter. And that makes different kinds of these. This one is actually a little bit. Here's the other one. Here's a spherical knob cutter. Notice it's almost like a circle or a sphere. This is more of a upright knob cutter. Okay, the spherical knob cutter's for doing a little bit different. You can do it with this, but I recommend getting a set of these for the intricate work because you can really get down in the cracks and crevices a little bit easier than you can with the sphericals. I have both for that reason. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to whittle this down, and it's not going to take a whole lot, just a little bit. But what we're doing is bringing it down to where it needs to be, so we don't have a big dead spot above this branch. We're doing this so it'll callus over right away. Okay. Now I want to also get in here. I've got a larger spherical knob cutter that I'm going to use now. It's kind of in the middle of both, I guess. It's considered the spherical knob cutter, but it kind of comes up to a point a little bit more than the smaller tool. And I just want to create just the slightest indentation in the middle of this, because when it does callus over, I want it to callus over nice and smooth. I don't want to have a mound like this, so I'm just going to go in here a little bit and remove just the smallest amount of material to create that divot. And of course you can do this with power tools a lot easier than this. I just don't have electric out here, and I didn't feel like running an extension cord. And with a pine tree, eventually when it gets that nice craggy thick bark, it's not going to make a difference. You're not going to see it as much as you would, like for instance on a Japanese maple or something. Alright, now also, being that this thing's pushing sap, a lot of people don't do it, but I do. I put this Kiono cut paste on there straight away. A lot of people swear by it, a lot of people don't ever use it. It does have a hormone in there that helps with callusing. That's why I'm able to get that great wound healing in such a short time. Don't be afraid to use this stuff when you do. I want to focus on the edges as well as the center. I always put it on the center as well because that helps preserve the wood and keep it from rotting while the callusing is taking place. And the callusing, when it starts to activate on the tree and it starts to push the callus, it actually will roll this stuff off. When this stuff dries, it dries the first year, it dries into like almost a rubber cement type consistency. And then in the second growing season, it's like a hard plastic. It's still pliable, but it's really hard. And it'll start flaking off the second and third year. So as the tree starts to push callus over this area, it'll come off. Alright, there we go. That's that. Find something here to wipe my hands off with. I got a piece of cardboard that I use to wipe this stuff off my finger. It's nice and sturdy and you can get it off pretty quickly. Alright, there's our cut. Now this back branch, you can see I've got little teeny branch here, little teeny branch here, little teeny branch here, and then the main branch. So I've already got some really good ramification clear back at the back of the tree, and then all this is just extension growth. Eventually all this will get cut off back to this, and I've already got my 3 branches here, and they're all in a really good location. One of them's kind of weak, the other 2 are looking pretty good. Matter of fact, I think I might go ahead and do that now. Well, I don't know if I'm going to do it now just yet. I may do it this season still. I just don't want it. I don't want to hit it here and have it die all the way back. But then again, I don't want this to die. Now that it's going to get an immense amount of light, they should strengthen up, even though all this is out here. I mean, it's got to go past here to get out to the growing ends. So we'll keep an eye on those. I definitely want to try to keep those if I can. And if they die, I always have all this out here that I can bend back in the tree to cover areas that need to be covered. Now, we've got way too many branches on the bottom of this tree here that are unnecessary. I kept them all on there up to this point because I was anticipating some of them possibly dying. I haven't had one die yet, which is not necessarily the norm. But now that we are where we are on the tree and in the tree's development, we need to start looking at getting some of these removed, because if not, they're going to start doing some ugly swelling where we don't want swelling to be. Another thing I want to do is kind of expose this nebari. You see this big mound right here. I intentionally buried this thing about that deep. The nebari is buried probably about 2 inches or so deep, deeper down in here than where the tree is currently at. Number one, that allows the roots to thicken. Number two, it ensures that the surface roots don't dry out. So that's our next play, is to go ahead and do some branch selection here and work on exposing the nebari. Alright, right off the bat I've got some front branches here that I don't need. This is number one branch. Okay, it's on an outside bend, and it's as low as I want any really of the branches to be. I got some back branches here that are a little bit lower than it, so we're going to have to take a look at those as well to potentially remove, because I've got a lot of branches up above there that I can use to fill in any void down lower that I need to. So let me go ahead and get my cutters here and my root removing tools. Or not removing tools, but nebari exposing tools. And we'll go ahead and get started. Alright, so the tools I'm going to use are going to be a heavy pair of shears, because none of the branches are really that large on this tree. I'm going to use just a regular old chopstick. I'm going to use concave cutters. Whoa, focus please. I'm going to use concave cutters, and then I'm going to use, this is the tool, this is my root removal tool that I made a while back. Basically all it is an old handle from a hammer that broke off that I had whittled down into basically I guess a root hook. This does really well at removing soil without damaging the roots. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and get the nebari exposed so we can see where we are, so we know what we need to go for as far as the design. I'm going to go ahead and get that done, and then we'll come back. Okay folks, we're back. I've exposed the nebari and removed, I've only removed 4 branches. Actually 2 of them were dead and 2 of them were still alive on the front. This is one of the main reasons why I always expose the nebari first. I was looking at the tree like this as the front. After exposing the nebari, it needs to be rotated a little bit. I'm going to pull these back so you can see the nebari. I'm really impressed with what I've got. The back not so much, but there's the basal flare and the nebari on this particular tree, which to me is absolutely stunning. You can see the movement in the tree that I put in it when it was younger. You can see the move, hopefully you can see the movement of the trunk. Let me step out of the way, that'll give you a little bit better background to look at. Got really good nebari in the front here. I've got roots here, 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 everywhere they need to be. It's kind of flat in the back, which is okay because mainly we look at a tree from the front anyway, and the back of the tree is not that much of a concern. I've got branches down low in the back there which are going to help hide any mistakes or any lack of nebari back there. So now we need to focus on branch selection. Of course, we know our apex and we know what our back branch is going to be, so we are going to leave those right where they are.